Hello everyone, Ron again, and in this video we're going to look at something that I covered in a previous video about when you compose for musical works, and it was for like clarity. So action.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
So some people in the comments have been saying that you want to see me more rather than just looking at the DAW. And I responded to a few of them like, it's hard to find space, right? The reason I don't include my face in the video at the bottom is because being that FL Studio is doing processing in real time of the music, it actually is too CPU intensive, so it would damage the audio and it would cause artifacts. So I usually can't because of the number of plugins or like the CPU amount that they require. But I can try to include showing myself in this part at least, you know? So I'll try to do it more often. Making the drum videos is kind of complex. It requires editing audio for different environments. And to be honest with you, there are some days where I just don't have time. Also, if you want to see more drumming videos, let me know what you want to see, because there are other things to cover too. Like maybe how I drum, like, the stick techniques and stuff, how to hold the sticks, things like that. Some people offered the idea of making a private course, and those are things that I'm considering looking into. But it takes a while to get everything rolling. But once I do, I'll let you all know. But if you have videos that you would like to see, then always feel free to leave them in the comments because I do look. That's how this series actually got started. Someone requested it in the comments. They said it would be helpful if you made a series about melody around the time when I was doing the series about rhythm. So I do check that stuff out and read it. And I do respond to it as fast as I can, you know? So if you ever have something that you would like to know more about or that you want to see, then just let me know. So if you haven't seen the video called Composing for Musical Clarity, then go check it out and you'll see the original idea. This is the one where I'm going to take the notes from that video and remake it. And the purpose of this video is to show you that you can write a melody in advance and then you can save it for later, because maybe you think of something while you're unable to actually produce it, or you're just outside or something. There are apps you can download for your phone. FL Studio Mobile is the one I use, but they have sequencers and you can create the melody there if you know how to whistle. I don't personally, but if you do, then you can whistle and remember it later. If you sing, then you might remember it easier because you already know the notes and what they sound like and all that. You just reproduce them with your voice. But things like that can help you so you can think about something and then use it later on. And you don't have to be so beholden to creating something in the moment. Or you can switch projects if you get stuck and you have writer's block. Now we're switching over into FL Studio. That's the name of the program that I use for everybody who has been asking, because that also was a question that came in many comments. It's called FL Studio, and it's a DAW, digital audio workstation. That's how I edit the audio. When I take the noise out, I use RX8, and those are two things that you can check out. And let me know if you want me to show them or explain more about them or anything like that. All right, so with that being said, into FL Studio. All right, so we're in FL Studio, and I'm going to show you this real quick because it's actually very simple. It's like you just write something and then later on you go back to that idea and revisit it. Now, you could use it in some project that you have already created with it maybe, or you could use it in just something new, like you write the melody down in isolation. So check this out. Here's the audio example. If you remember, if you saw that video, Composing for Musical Clarity, I made a whole bunch of melodies and I put all of them in the same instrument. and it was just one copy of Flex, and that sounded like this. So if you saw the video composing for musical clarity, you may remember that I wrote a whole bunch of melodies, and at the time they were just rhythms. I was thinking of them that way, but they were also melodies because they vary in pitch. I wouldn't explain in that video why I made the decisions I made. I've covered some of it as far as the major scale and the minor scale for why I made those decisions now, but I have decided to place it in a new sort of light so you could hear it in a different way, and I could expand upon what I was talking about then. So to the left of the EQ, you will notice that contact is here. And as I explained, you can use contact to take one rhythm or melody and split it among instruments because contact is able to have multiple MIDI channels. So that's what I've done here. I've taken 5 different ones that I have. So you have a violin, you got a tube drum that's playing the bass, tin click, which is like instruments made from bamboo, I think, but they sound cool, you'll see. Session horns, which I talked about in the last video, and pan drums, which sort of sound like steel drums. They're cool, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna show you what it sounds like now in a different pattern. So keep in mind that first thing that you just heard, and now this is it split among instruments. So that was what it sounds like now. And when I made that video originally, I was talking about how you could split the different rhythms or melodies up. And so now you get to see that in action. And I'll show you this too, just because it's relevant. I would ordinarily opt to show myself if I was making a video like this, especially if it was like a live stream. But you can see this bar. And even when I'm playing the music, it is going all the way into the red. And it runs the risk of causing artifacts or making the audio distort. So that would cause me to have to make the video again because it wouldn't sound good. So that's the reason why I don't show myself as much, because of that limitation. And especially with the addition of the camera, because it's harder to produce the video for the computer than it is for the audio. It has an easier time working with just audio by itself. And what you have there is called a buffer overload, a safe overload. And you can read about that in the FL Studio manual. But it's like when you have that situation, when you add more things that are going to take up CPU power, then you run the risk of just crashing. So for the sake of audio quality, I don't show as much video, but I will try to figure out ways that are creative to show more drumming and stuff like that. Or if there's ways that I can be in front of the camera, like if I could be somewhere and play a piano, for example, that would be cool. I thought about doing something like that at Guitar Center. That might be fun. Or at school. But those are things to come. So if you made it to the end of the video, I thank you as always for watching. And as usual, have an awesome day. Peace.